Let's talk about our nervous system, specifically the autonomic nervous system. I'm going to give you a map of how our nervous system responds to threats and activation in our environment. This map is going to give us a biological and a psychological understanding of how many mental health symptoms are generated. And this model is one of the key points to the PSIP work that we're going to be doing together. I'm going to give you a very brief introduction to the autonomic nervous system, and there's a much better video out there. I'm going to link to that in the description. It's about 30 minutes long. It is a much better and more detailed explanation of what we think is going on in this kind of therapy, and it even gives us video examples of what it looks like for a client to be experiencing some of these things. So it's a wonderful resource, but it's about 30 minutes long, and maybe you don't want to spend 30 minutes watching a video about the nervous system. So that's why I made this much shorter, much more basic introduction to the autonomic nervous system. But really, don't even watch this. Go watch the video that I linked to in the description. It's much better. Still with me? Okay, that's fine. Let's talk about the autonomic nervous system. It governs a lot of automatic processes. Autonomic, automatic. Autonomic, automatic. See, it's right there in the name. Things like heart rate, breathing, metabolism. And it covers our fight or flight response, that's sympathetic activation, and it covers the sleep and the freeze and the calming and the dissociative response, which is the parasympathetic. These are the two different branches of the autonomic nervous system. It's really important, possibly the most important thing that I'm going to say in these videos, is that the activation of the autonomic nervous system is adaptive. It's a good thing. Let's say that something bad happens. Someone is yelling at you, throwing things at you. You're feeling threatened. Your autonomic nervous system is going to respond. You're going to have an increase in heart rate. You're going to get sweaty. Your pupils are going to dilate. You're going to be ready to go. You're going to be ready to fight this person or run away from this person. And that's wonderful. That's a solution that your nervous system is looking for. You don't have to consciously think about it. Your body, your nervous system is taking care of you to respond to this threat. And it's not just threats. Let's say you're playing sports, and this could be team sports, this could be video games, anything. And your nervous system responds there too. My heart rate increases and I start breathing faster because I really got to beat my friend in Mario Kart. I'm not actually under threat. I'm really just sitting on a couch with my friend. Nothing scary is really going on, but I'm still getting activated, right? Activation isn't always bad. Sometimes it's a response to threat. Sometimes it's a response to competition or play. And it's a way that our body is looking for solution. We are always looking for solution. And so much of the therapeutic work that we're going to be doing is about finding solution within the nervous system. This nervous system seems to exist in 5 discrete states. So this is not a spectrum. This is 5 separate pieces. It is discontinuous. That seems to be how we experience the autonomic nervous system and how it responds to threats. You're in one state, and then suddenly you shift into a different state. It's discontinuous, all right? The more threatened your body feels, the further along the scale you go. So first, on the left, we got state 0. This is feeling stable and settled and alert. It's when there is no stress. You're just kind of hanging out. And you feel connected and aware of your surroundings and the other people there. If you get a little mild stress added to your system, and you enter state 1. So you're feeling kind of anxious, but again, this could also be excited if you're playing video games with friends or going for a jog. Jogging is stressful. but it's kind of, it can be a fun, nice stress. So state 1 can be pretty good sometimes. If you add more stress to your system, suddenly you're in high stress. This is like a panic attack. This is maximum sympathetic arousal. This is the most fight or flight that you can get to. You can't really hang out in state 2 for very long. It's very unpleasant, and your nervous system is going to want to resolve to something else. It's either going to want to go to state 1 or further along into state 3. If the threat in your environment or in your memory or in the therapy that we're doing, the recall of event memory of a previous threat or trauma, if it exceeds that maximum of the fight or flight response, if it exceeds what your sympathetic nervous system can handle, then these active defenses kind of go away and we start engaging passive defenses instead. And that's parasympathetic collapse. And that's why I changed the color from red to blue. The red states, state 1 and 2, these are hot, these are active. This is, you're going to have to fight something or run away from something. And if that doesn't work, then the nervous system starts to turn inward and we start getting cold and depressed. And this is where trauma comes in. It's not stress anymore. It's trauma. You add pressure, you add activation to the autonomic nervous system, and you get state 3. This is a reaction to moderate trauma. And this too is pretty stable. You can spend a lot of time there. It's not pleasant at all, but it's pretty stable. And if you add even more stress to the system, then we get to state 4. When you experience severe trauma with no escape and no possibility of solution, then your body takes care of itself in the absolute best way that it can, which is just to numb out, have an out-of-body experience, disconnect and float outside, and then trauma happens to the body, but you are kind of floating away from the body. It's the final solution that we can come up with if no other solution is available. So these are the 5 states of the autonomic nervous system. This is very brief. I don't know if this makes sense to you or not. I hope it does, but please watch the longer video where you can get some really good examples and a much better explanation of what these states look like and what they feel like. This is the work that we're going to be doing if you want to do PSIP work. We're going to be re-experiencing each of these states, and eventually, you know, the goal is to get you to state 0, where you can feel settled and connected and aware of your surroundings and relationships again. Before we talk about specifically how to do that, though, we have to talk about some of the risks that are involved. Re-experiencing high stress and moderate trauma feels really unpleasant, and we need to discuss what that means and how we can take care of ourselves when we're feeling that. And that'll be in the next video.